Hello and welcome to Money Talks. I'm your host Shllok Rawat. Our guest today is the co-founder and director in business and strategy of Payswiff, Mrs. Priti Shah. Payswiff is a fintech firm which specializes in providing payment and transaction solutions to merchants with the mission to enable growth and fulfill the aspiration of their customers through innovation, inclusiveness, agility, and integrity. This firm is India's leading omni-channel payment service firm and is also present in over 10 different countries. It has gotten many different awards for its excellence, such as the Visa Everywhere Initiative Award of 2020, Financial Services and Insurance Excellent Award from Singapore, and the Digital Payment Solutions of the Year Award at the BFSI Award in 2018, among many others. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast, Mrs. Priti Shah.
Thanks, Shllok. It's my pleasure.
Today, we're going to be talking about many different, very interesting topics, including the story behind Payswiff, how it was made, Ms. Shah's philosophy on business, and what are her takes on the future of the payment field. So, just to start off, to someone who doesn't know what Payswiff does, can you just like simply in a sentence or two just explain what the business of Payswiff is all about?
Yeah, so as you rightly said, for a layman language, Shllok, maybe people won't understand those jargons what we've put, but in a very lame, simple language, Payswiff is a driver in terms of empowering merchants for digital payments, and it's instrumental in going to the last mile for enabling a merchant to accept a digital payment mode via UPI or via card. So, in short, the digital payment infrastructure, what you see today, we are one of the enablers, and we empower merchants to convert their store into a digital payment store. We also help banks in providing an end-to-end payment platform to provide their merchants a smooth digital payment experience. So, in short, these are a layman language, what I can tell.
Okay, but then in India, like since we know that India's a more or less orthodox country, but the many small merchants. How did you convince like how do payment service providers convince a merchant to go digital? Like, what are the advantages that you can like provide them that they won't get if they just accept cash?
Yeah, so see, I'll tell you that, any digital payment company today really don't need to go an extra mile to get people or get merchants, tell them that, this is what the benefit is. I think government is doing a great job in terms of saying that how a digital payment can actually get a merchant a loan or, get the merchant into a credit economy today, which he will not be there if he's accepting cash. So I think 50% of the job is being done by the government. There are a lot of initiatives by MeitY, by Finance Ministry, if you see in terms of how one can accept digital payment. And today, if you see every nook and corner today in the country, or even the millennials or your generation also, I don't think how many would go and do a cash transaction. I'm sure there are digital payment which is more of convenience and ease. So today the merchants are they are forced to accept a digital payment because that is the preference of a customer. Today, in fact, I'm not even carrying 50 rupees in my pocket when I travel so extensively today because everything is done digitally. And I was very surprised that in some stores, when I opted to give cash, they told me that can you pay digitally via Google Pay or via Paytm or via or any other mode of payment. So that itself says that, that today there is a need and there is a demand today more than you need to go and force the merchants, then you accept digital payments.
And then how will like a small merchant, let's say there's a merchant who owns a chip store and they want to get digital. So how would they end up approaching you? And then for them, what are like the different services that you provide for a merchant?
So for the merchant, one is, we provide them in UPI a service to start with, which is then, slowly we also are giving sound box, which the merchant through UPI can listen that, okay, today there are a lot of frauds which are happening in terms of the UPI in the industry. So we also offer them a device, a sound box, where the merchant knows that, the money has been credited to his account. Then we also provide POS services, which is POS services, where terminals where you swipe your card. So we offer, it starts with UPI, goes for POS. Then we also offer them a billing solution, an inventory solution, a total end-to-end solution for them in terms of their inventory, their billing. So we, in short, we start with a service which is the need for a merchant, which is UPI, to even extensive services like a billing app, or once his business grows, we can offer them in different services, which can start with payments, but then go to inventory billing or other ancillary services. What the merchant needs, so he doesn't have to go to different vendors for in terms of recon for different services to run his business.
So basically, you all act like a one-stop shop for like all their needs, right?
Correct, correct. It's a single unified app. We have got an app called Payswiff app, which is a single unified app. The merchant has to download and just start accepting payments. We are in fact the pioneers in terms of a very seamless merchant onboarding, where you do not have to give physical documents. In 7 minutes, a merchant can start accepting payments.
Yeah, so the payment field is like like it really interests me also, but I wanted to know, before you did payment, you taught travel and tourism, like you were a professor for travel and tourism. What made you
Correct.
want to get into like the digital payment business?
Yes, look, interesting question. So it was not by choice. Travel was my passion, but my daughter was very young, and for my travel professor, I had to travel almost an hour. So just to make sure that there was a opening for an admin executive just next door, which was a payment startup, and which I came to know. So just to accommodate my daughter, I started as a admin executive in that payment startup. And nevertheless, I never knew that this job would be a turnaround in my life, and I would be an entrepreneur, and I would be, doing this. So I will say it was not by choice. It was a
Lucky
coincidence that
coincidence. Yeah.
so if anybody gets a credit for where I am, that's my daughter today. Obviously, she's 24, and she's independent. She's working again for a fintech firm out of Bangalore. But if she's the one who's instrumental, because I never knew even the P of payments. I never even knew what's a credit card, debit card. So this is how I started, and I think entrepreneurs are really made by coincidence. They don't choose to be an entrepreneur. That is my experience.
Yeah, so like the firm that you were working for before Payswiff, it got acquired. And then after that, why did you want to start Payswiff? So like how did you think of founding Payswiff? And then can you like tell me like the little story behind it?
Yeah, so I'll tell you so we were a part of EBS. So I started my first job in a payment startup called EBS, who was into an online payment gateway. And the founder there, I was working with the founder very closely, and maybe I was the first employee out there. I got to learn a lot of things in terms of how a startup works. And then once we scaled up, we were a bunch of people, around 5 people of us who were there, who were the founding team. And we used to work with the founder very closely. And then we never even knew that it scaled up and became the second largest online payment gateway in India. And then when the acquisition happened, the founder obviously moved out, and then we also moved out with the founder, because ideally, the whole comfort level is with the person who you're working with. And then we thought, why not do something in offline? We've already done something in online, and that time in US there was Square, which was booming up. So there's a story. We went into a coffee shop. We did not have paper, so we started writing in tissue papers in terms of what we wanted to do. And we thought that when online is just 2% of the market, why not we go into offline and give payments to offline retailers, where today only banks are there, and there are not private players like us. So we were the first one, in fact, to launch in terms of offline space, and to acquire offline merchants for a POS machine. So that is how the whole idea started, in terms of let's do something, because I was not even a graduate, so nobody would even give a job to me. So the only thing what I could do is start something.
That's that's actually a really interesting way that it started off. And then I just want to ask a personal question. You've gotten like I looked at your resume on LinkedIn. You've gotten many different awards. Like you've gotten the 30 Women Entrepreneur to Watch Award by Insight Success Magazine and CEO Magazine, and then you've gotten many that like if I start naming them, the whole episode will go on that only. But then in India, there's a very like a very funny preconceived notion that women, when they get into business and when they get into founding a startup, it's much harder for them, and it will require more effort for them to be able to catch up. So you, as a very successful woman entrepreneur, do you think the notion is right that women in India have like many more hurdles to face than men, starting in entrepreneurship and specifically in the fintech business?
Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you that the amount of women entrepreneurs and people who plunge into entrepreneurship of female versus male, the ratio is on, stands north of 95% to 5% kind of a thing. Various reasons. It is, I will not say only it is in India, it is Shllok, it is globally if you see. Okay, right from the boardroom to entrepreneurship, the ratio has been always like this. So I would say that even a male would have challenges, a female would have challenges. Maybe the ratio would be more for a female because biologically a female is a nurturer, and that is how it works. So for a woman, the priority always the family. Like for me, I changed my whole career because I want to take care of my kid. So that happens, and yeah, it is a bit tougher to be, to start something, because be it investments, be it a lot of other things. What are there? The preference for a women led startup in terms of investment versus a male, there are differences, but I think we are evolving, and I'm sure we would right, we will reach right there. I will never say that it was we will have that equality, but we are evolving, and yes, I agree that the challenges uh, for a woman entrepreneur is more than a male entrepreneur, for sure. It is just, the reason is that the world is still evolving, and maybe the next generation would not have the same challenges what the others had or what we had.
Yeah, so just jumping off the point of evolving, like if you look at how your career transition, you didn't even graduate and you were studying commerce, and since you also said most of your knowledge about the system was was through experience itself, and like a lot of new age entrepreneurs, and I think a lot of our generation starting to believe that like education itself is not necessary, because before it was like get a degree and then get a stable job. But now people are starting to realize that like education is not everything, and it's like practical living. So especially in fintech, what I've noticed is there's a very big preconceived notion that if this guy started a fintech company, he or she has to have graduated from a top Ivy League school and done computer science and coding their whole life. And since you've done none of that, and since you've got most of your most of your knowledge from the businesses that you have looked at and from the businesses that you have personally worked in, do you think it's essential to have like a degree to pursue a business, or do you think or do you think practical knowledge heavily outweighs like the book knowledge that you learn?
I think both are important, So I think it's a fad saying that if you're successful, you will have to be a school or a college dropout. No, that's not the case, because maybe people did not have opportunity to go to an Ivy school. I always also wanted to study, go to Ivy school, and I'm sure that people want to do that. So I will not say that education is not important. Education is important, but a mix of a theoretical knowledge plus a practical knowledge would do wonders. For example, this generation, while they go to school, the management schools, or they go to colleges or universities, maybe they can do an internship, or they can opt out for practical knowledge. And I think both the going to an education university makes you more disciplined, makes you more process oriented, and it also helps you. It has its own advantages, and I would not say that that you should drop out your school and college and university, and do that just because somebody like Mark Zuckerberg did, or Steve Jobs did, or somebody who did. I don't think so. That is how you should look at it. I think both are equally important, and I think this generation should gain knowledge in their vacation, in their free time. Going to offices and doing things, and not necessarily think about their salary, because I think that till 25 you should learn and not earn. And both of them help slow.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask a question on a tangent. There was this one startup that had come in India where it's, I think it's called Scalar, if I'm not incorrect, where they realize that universities only teach like a lot of theoretical knowledge and not practical. So then they started teaching a lot of practical knowledge online. So do you like the idea of universities trying to adopt more practical knowledge and experience, or do you think it's just better to, as you said, do internships and then just learn the practical knowledge the natural way?
Yeah, so I think both of them important. School going to an university physically, there are a lot of things you learn. You learn how you'll, apart from learning IQ, you'll also learn EQ, and you also know, okay, what is what is it to work like a team and to work on a project. Otherwise, you go and you start working in a company or you be an entrepreneur and you really don't know what this teamwork is all about. So I think that it's equally important that this generation goes to university, goes to college, gets the required education, what is needed, and also pursues their aspiration or what they want to do by doing internship or a job, or also do some courses on skills, what they want to do or they like. Children can opt for coding, children can opt for getting mentorship programs, because one thing what I see missing in India is mentors. If children get the right mentors, I'm sure that they might not repeat the same mistake what everybody is doing, and they might learn from somebody else's mistake.
Yeah, so then basically, I just want to ask, specifically in your business, what are some challenges that like you and the business face? And then because the Indian fintech market is a very emerging market, and since you all started in 2013 or 2014, if I'm not incorrect,
Correct.
you all, pardon?
Yeah, 2014 is 2014, 2015 we went to the market. 2013 we started the company and we started building the product.
So
Correct.
then, since you all started pretty early in the Indian fintech space, what are some like challenges that you all face as a company, and how did you all find ways to overcome them?
So see, one of the challenges is today, if you see that, we're still trying to enter the Bharat part of India. So India has been divided into India and Bharat, correct? So India is the the metros or the tier 1 cities or maximum tier 2 cities. But we're talking the last mile, which even which is smaller towns, smaller villages, where still, apart from SBI Bank, nobody's trying to have a reach there. So I think the most challenging part is the infrastructure which is there, be it internet, be it your network, or be it your your digital payment infrastructure. So I think that is more important. Going into the Bharat part of India, I think still would to take another 1 decade where you would, the infrastructure would be built in terms of your network, and then you need to really penetrate on the Bharat part of it. So the biggest challenge, not only us, many fintech players today face, is going and connecting to the last mile and touching the Bharat part of India.
So then, just looking at your like what you said about the not only you, many other firms face, in specifically the payment gateway field, I think this was very highly publicized when companies like Bharati and mainly Paytm, which is like one of the biggest players in this space, had such big falls. Like Paytm, the stock has crashed to under 55% of what its original issuing price was, and and there have been a lot of issues in terms of legality, A, and B, these companies simply just couldn't crack the way to earning profit. And I know these are very user-based companies, but why do you think, since you're in the field, why do you think a company like Paytm is struggling to make profit? And do you think there's like because a lot of companies and a lot of institutional investors, I think, have started to back away from the payment gateway field because of many bad apples, and because a lot of companies out there are loss making. So do you think the concept that Bharati and Paytm just cannot make profit at all because their business is fundamentally flawed is the case, or do you think there's any other reason? And if you could touch upon that reason.
Yeah, so Shlok, one thing is that I generally refrain commenting about other companies because every company has its own strategy and I mean, if you ask me questions about my company, I would do it, but I think I would refrain commenting about other companies and what others are doing because I respect, founders and startups who have started from nothing and today to where they are. So they might have different plans, they might have different strategies, and I think I totally respect them about it. And I would refrain commenting in what others are doing for a mere fact that I just don't know everything about them.
Okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. So then, in the Indian fintech field, because it's very competitive and there are many different startups and do the same thing that your company is doing. What are some like skills that you learned, and what are some skills that you think that are essential to anyone who wants to join the Indian fintech field in specific, to have to succeed in that field?
Yeah, so one is fintech is a very broad word. Like, what is it? What you're looking for fintech? Because fintech is also you're talking about lending, you're talking about payments, you're talking about digital banking. There is so much when it comes to fintech, and I would again put this into two. Divide this into two. One is your pure tech, where you really need to have be a coder or have an experience in terms of coding or in terms of pure IT. The second basket in terms of managers, sales, operations, where I don't think that you really need to have an experience when it comes to tech, but I think you need to have basic common sense and logics and some kind of an aspiration to do something. So today, I think there are a lot of colleges. I'm seeing universities coming out with fintech courses, and today, in fact, I just read that there are a few universities coming into fintech courses because that is something one field which is expanding. So my take is that even a person who's a graduate and who has basic common sense, logics, or maybe even he's trying to understand this space, just go and study something about how this industry works, can do pretty good in this industry.
Okay, so then I now want to touch upon more of the future of like the payment systems and like the payment gateway field. I think cryptocurrencies are like something that like I think now everyone knows about them, and it's looked at as a disruptor. Like I'm not sure if a lot of people just look at cryptocurrencies as an investment. But when I was digging a bit more deeply into it, because even I'm very interested in cryptocurrency, I realized that it has a lot of potential in the payment system, and I think big companies are starting to realize this. I think one of the biggest ones would be Polygon, where they're starting to create payment transaction systems where you can make payments seamlessly from if I'm sitting in India today and you're sitting in US and you want a payment, I can do it instantly without having to go through a third party bank or something like that.
Right.
But like everything in cryptocurrency was looking very good. But now, since the market has crashed, everything is down 80%. They've lost essentially $2.3 trillion have been wiped from the cryptocurrency market. Do you think the cryptocurrency, like the concept behind digital payment via cryptocurrency, is still a viable future? And is your company itself also very interested in it?
Yeah, see, one is I'll tell you, like financial services is something which is very prone to frauds, and it can wipe away, you know, a lot of monies. So one is that anything, be it crypto, be it blockchain, whatever mode it is, as long as it is, see, nothing is foolproof. Even your bank accounts are not foolproof. But as long as it is in the radar of regulator, which has been approved, and whether regulator is recognizing, I'm okay about it. If you ask me straight, do I understand blockchain? Do I understand crypto? I'm still yet understanding it because still no country has been able to crack it, or no country has been able to adopt it fully today. So I still think it is evolving, and it is going to take some time in terms of the adoption process and winning the trust, because today banking is all about trust. So today, why you think why banks need to have a physical branch? Everybody can do digitally, everybody can get into crypto. But what we need to understand is that the basic fundamentals of you banking with a bank is about trust. So I personally believe that as long as that trust is established, within people, and people are adopting to it and they feel that it is safe, uh, you know, that will take to the next leap. Otherwise, today I'm not seeing any other countries which has an acceptance of crypto or a blockchain. And today, as a company, we still are not into it. I don't know. Then in another 3-4 years, we might, because there are a lot of things for us to do in terms of a lot of other products. So until there is a regulatory framework around it, I don't think we want to touch it.
And just touching on crypto once again, that is like there's this a lot of very cool new technology that's come on. I think one of the not very recent, but one of the things that are really blown up in the crypto space was Tether. So if anyone who's watching or if you are not aware, Tether is basically like a currency, a cryptocurrency which is stable at $1 and basically what they claim is that $1 that is there in tethers is backed up to $1 that they have in their bank account. And basically what they are aiming to do is aiming to be a very easy mediator between liquidating cryptocurrency, because a very big issue is, let's say I have the cryptocurrency, how do I turn it into actual cash? So that's what Tether is trying to do. And although Tether specifically, that's not a great example because they've fallen into a lot of legality issues.
Correct. So that's what I'm coming to, Shlok, that as long as you are into the regulatory framework, you can see a light in terms of there is an adaptability which is there. So you need to really have a blessing of a regulator, and if it is, there has to be a regulatory framework for you, doing something in terms of financial space. It's very, very
So
important.
do you think like regulations are like coming in the near future? Like I know India, they're working on regulations, and regulations in crypto are a bit tricky because it's untraceable. But do you think global regulation is coming anytime soon? And then if it does, will you as a company look at adopting it like in the future?
Yeah, I think it should, seeing every other day I read about crypto, and there are a lot of companies who are doing researches, including the payment brands globally. I think there would be some kind of a framework which might come in future. And if it comes in the future, we as a company might also look in, because financial service is something which is so fast in terms of evolving technologically. If you see, when especially India, if you see, it is even ahead of United States when it comes to financial services. So today, even no other country like India, how UPI has come, and it has been swaying around. So tomorrow, yes, if there's something, the form factor changes, and if we have to adopt as a company, we might definitely look into it.
So I just wanted to touch upon the just the part that you said the financial services in India is greater than US. I think there was a survey that came out in March, I believe, where it said that SaaS, which is for anyone who doesn't know, software as a service, the market would grow about 20 times to I think they said around 50 to $70 billion by 2030. So do you think SaaS is like the future? And I think a lot of press houses. I know it's a very bold statement to make, but a lot of international press houses have said that if India's IT and SaaS sector won, then we would be like another Pakistan or Bangladesh. So do you think SaaS is a sector that's gonna become like a very dominant sector in India? And then and then if so, why do you think so?
See, currently already, if you see SaaS software as a service, if you see in terms of financial services, it was already there. If you see, Infosys as a product, TCS as a product, Wipro has a product. Okay, Infosys has a product called Finacle, which is used by so many banks. So as it is today, software as a service in financial services already exists. It's not something which is new. And tomorrow, with the technology coming in, and with new financial technology firms coming in, SaaS might become the next big thing in India. And what I understand is already there. It's already there today.
Yeah, it is.
Uh, it already exists, and it might scale up, or it might have a new evolution tomorrow. And I will say that I will not say that it will, it will dominate or something, but it will definitely play a very critical part tomorrow when it comes to financial services. As such, it is playing Shllok. If you see all the fintech companies today, they are more or less a SaaS company today, providing a software as a service either to banks or to merchants,
Yeah, okay.
which is
So then,
digitally converted, which is absolutely digital without any physical, this, be it neo banking, be it digital banking. Today, that is all about SaaS.
okay, so then just the last question of this podcast. If you could give like a piece of advice to anyone who wants to become an entrepreneur in the future, just like one sentence or like a line of piece of advice, what would that be?
I'm just thinking there are so many things. Now, if you ask me to sum in one line, my experience, I would say that entrepreneurship is a choice. And if you think you want to do it, do it. Just do it. Don't think too
That
much.
just do it. I like that. Thank you so much for this podcast. I had a lot of fun and I think it was very informative and I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shllok. Thank you so much. I also loved it. And all the best, such a young chap and doing Money Talk. All the best for you, Shllok, and happy to do it.
Thank you.